gave 30 years of my life to corporate America, 30 years of working unpaid overtime, giving 300% and joining every task force so I could prove what a team player I was. 30 years of showing up, delivering, overfunctioning, and genuinely believing that if I were good enough at my job, the job would take care of me back. It did not. I got laid off 2 years ago with no real warning, no real explanation, just done. And the last 2 years have been exactly as hard as you'd expect them to be, and probably harder than I've been letting on. On October 7th of 2025, I made a video and told you that I was done job hunting. I was never going back to corporate, and at the time I meant every word of it. So I've made a decision. I'm done. Whoo! No more job hunting, no more resumes, no more fake interviews where I smile and say that I'm excited about the opportunity. Now, there's been a million things that I've said that I would never do, and I went ahead and did them anyway. So the older I get, the more I realize my never has a pretty loose definition. Now, if fast forward exactly 6 months later to April 7th, 2026, when I told you that I was going to start job hunting again. Let's talk about the other decision, because this one is not small, and it's the one that I said that I would never do again. I have decided that I'm going to start looking for a job in corporate again. 6 months to the day. Yeah, I don't know what that means either. I'm Sheila. I'm your 55-year-old internet auntie that has experience, a resume that should not be struggling this hard, and a very complicated relationship with a piece of software that I will get into shortly. I'm here with my receipts to tell you about what it's like to be 55 and searching for a job in a market that really isn't kind. The number that got to me, though, wasn't the number of applications. It wasn't even the number of denials. It was something smaller, and somehow it was worse. And that's what I want to talk to you about. Now, I'm not looking to build a career, right? I don't need to make a name for myself. I just need a job. I spend 2 to 3 hours a day job hunting, 5 days a week. I do take weekends off because mental health. Also, because Saturdays are for my husband, Doug, and Sundays are for dreading Mondays like a normal person. Now, I only look at jobs that have posted in the last 24 hours because anything older than that has been buried under 350 trillion other applications, and it's a waste of time. Now, I used to spray my resume everywhere, right? Like you never know who's going to see it. Maybe they have another role coming up. Maybe you can get lucky. That was my whole strategy, and honestly, it wasn't terrible, but it also wasn't smart. So this time I am being much more targeted because my time is a lot more limited. I'm still working on this channel every day. I'm still trying to build a plumbing company with my husband. I still have clean laundry in a basket that needs to be put away. But I digress. It's been in that basket for like 3 weeks. I don't like to talk about the basket. Every single job description that I find that looks possible, I paste it into Claude, which is my AI, and then I evaluate it against a set of criteria that I built. I do that before I even read a single word of it. I am not wasting 2 hours reading job descriptions that are going to have a deal breaker buried in paragraph 4. Things like, does it require travel? Hard no. I haven't traveled for work in the last 15 years, and I'm not about to start now. It needs to be remote. And I've noticed that there's even some job descriptions that have hidden gotchas in the text. I found one that had hidden text at the very end of the job description in the benefits area, which people don't ever read. And it says that you're required to send a cover letter to a specific email address. And that cover letter had to have the word peanut in it to be considered for the job. Yeah, I didn't even apply. If a company's first interaction with me is to test me to see if I read the fine print, well, peanut is apparently where I draw the line. I have survived layoffs, a hijacked YouTube channel, and a full identity crisis. I will not be doing tricks for a job I haven't even gotten yet. If the job survives all of that, then I apply. Now, the roles that I'm after are not glamorous. Some of them I am wildly overqualified for, and I'm applying anyway because I need a job, not a legacy. I'm applying for business analyst roles, product owner roles, and product manager roles. Now, I just want to do good work. I want to be paid fairly, and I want to log off at the end of the day and not think about it. Now, I tracked every application with an extremely high-tech method. So, here's what the data actually told me. 196 applications, 39 denials, and 1 recruiter screen. Not an interview, a 30-minute screening with a recruiter. Now, that's not a job search to me. That is the most effort that I've put into being ignored since my 20s. The pool is also shrinking. I started applying to about 25 jobs a day in the beginning of the month, and by the end of the month, I'm finding 5 to 10 that maybe fit my criteria. Now, the entire process sucks. I think that we can all agree on that. Now, I've done this before, multiple times, and I still forgot what it does to your head when the process keeps returning nothing. Now, I've been doing a little bit of research, and the product job market, which is what I do, is apparently the best it's been in 3 years. Cool. Yeah, I'm not feeling it. Companies are prioritizing and spending billions of dollars on AI, which is an experience that I just really don't have yet. They also want senior level brains for a junior level budget, and they'd prefer those brains to be younger than mine. That's just the reality. Now, I'm not going to drag out the ageism conversation because we already know, and many of us have experienced it. But there is a study that I read that puts 57 as the age where employers consider you're too old to hire in the tech industry. I'm 55. Now, I'm not good at math, but I can do that math. I linked to the article in the description if you're interested in reading it. So I do what I can. My resume only shows 15 years of experience, no graduation dates, nothing that hands them a calculator. I am not making it easy to count backwards and find a reason to pass on me before they've even read a word. My mental health isn't strong right now. I've shared that with you, but I'm working really hard on making it better. But I'll be honest, this job hunting doesn't help. There's this thing that happens when you hear nothing, right? You look at 196 applications and one human response, and you start trying to figure out what is wrong with you specifically. Now, I know it's not personal. I know the system is broken and the odds are stacked. This is not a commentary on my value as a human being. I've rewritten my resume probably a dozen times at this point, and I keep rewriting it because when nothing is working, you default to the thing that you can control. The resume is the only thing that I can control. So I keep touching it. And at this point, it has been edited so many times, it might have more versions of itself than I do. Now, I've been out of traditional employment since early 2024, but I did start an LLC that covers it, right? I built it specifically to house any consulting work and my YouTube work. Just FYI, I do not bring up YouTube to potential employers for reasons that are probably obvious to anyone who has seen this channel. I full on know that I'm absolutely one Google search away from a hiring manager finding this channel, and every opinion that I've ever had about corporate America, that's a tomorrow problem. Okay, I have to get this out. I need to talk about Workday. Now, Workday is the application system that approximately every company on earth uses, and it's also the most hated application system among job seekers. Now, both of those things are true at the exact same time, and nobody seems to care. For those of you that are unfamiliar, here's what applying through Workday looks like. You find a job, you click apply. It asks you to create an account. Not a Workday account, a specific account for that specific company's version of Workday. So if you're applying to 10 companies, you have 10 accounts, 10 little portals of rejection. So here's my question. Why can't I just have one Workday account that I log into and it shows all of the jobs that I've applied to through Workday? Doesn't that seem logical? No. When you upload your resume, and this is my favorite part, okay, it asks you to manually enter everything that you just uploaded on your resume. Your work history, your education, all of it, field by field, because it tried to parse your resume and it just sort of threw everything against a wall, completely failed, and then called it a day. It is such a time suck. What should be a 3-minute application process turns into a 15-minute ordeal. Now, I looked it up because I was curious. The average completion rate for a Workday application is about 8%, meaning 92 out of every 100 people who click on apply don't finish. And I understand that completely. It's been like this for 20 years. Only corporate America could build a system so broken that 92% of people quit before they finish applying and then wonder why they can't find good talent. Tell me what drives you absolutely insane about job hunting. Something specific that makes you want to throw your laptop out the window. Drop it in the comments where I read every one. So, here's the thing that I do wish that I had done differently. I wish that I'd maintained my relationships better. The people that I worked with over the last 30 years, I really have let most of those connections go quiet. Not out of malice, just out of moving on, not thinking about it, and, anxiety. And now I'm back in a market where who you know matters, and I'm largely starting from zero on that front. I have realized that I have the networking instincts of a hermit crab who just found a really good shell and decided to stay there for 30 years. The number that gets to me the most in this whole shebang is I wonder what happened to the other 157 applications I sent out. 39 of them were denied, yeah, but 157 just disappeared like I never existed. Not even the automated, we've decided to move forward with other candidates, right? Email. I know it can take weeks to hear back, so I'm not just sitting here expecting same-day responses, but rejection means someone saw you and said no. 157 of my applications didn't even get that. Now, that's the number that got to me, not the denials. It's the nothing, right? It's the nothing. Now, I can explain the process. I can explain the math. What I can't explain is what it feels like to be scared of getting the thing that you're trying to get. Now, I made a video not too long ago about fear, and I'll link to it here. Fear has been a running theme over here, and this is no different. I'm scared. I'm scared of this job hunt in a way that surprised me because I've done this before, and I thought I knew what I was walking into. But there's something different about doing it at 55. It hits differently than it did even 2 years ago when I was still in shock from the layoff and running on adrenaline and a level of optimism that I have since retired. I'm scared of what it says about me that 196 applications got me one human on the phone. I know logically that's the market. I get it. I know it's not personal. But when I sit down every morning and open my laptop, it feels completely personal. Honestly, I'm even more scared of what happens if it works, whether my brain can actually handle that kind of work week after 2 years of trying to put itself back together. I'm not scared I'm going to lose myself inside it again. I know too much now. That part of me isn't available anymore. But I just did come out of a behavioral health treatment program, and I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't at least a little terrified of what that sustained pressure will do to the progress that I've made. I spent my whole life not becoming what I was supposed to become based upon where I started. And that took everything that I had. And here I am at 55 doing it again, just trying to hold on to what I built. Now, the only reason that I'm going back to corporate is money. That is the only reason. There is no other reason. And I need you to know that because I need to know that. The second that I forget that's the only reason is the second that this starts to get dangerous. There's no arc here. There's no lesson wrapped up neatly. It's just a 55-year-old woman with 30 years of experience, a spreadsheet, tick marks on a piece of paper, and 196 attempts to get one person on the phone. If this was useful to you, let me know. I'll check back in next month to see if anything changes. More numbers, more data, probably more Workday complaints. But if you want to understand why job hunting feels the way that it does, why the system works exactly the way it's supposed to, and not just for us, everything I know about that is right here. And honestly, it might make this whole thing make a lot more sense.